Every man of them had his pipe and tobacco pouch. Some carried what might be called the smoker's complete outfit: a pipe, tobacco, a pricker with which to clean the tube, a silver net for protecting the bowl, and a box of the strongest of brimstone matches. A true Dutchman, you must remember, is rarely without his pipe on any possible occasion. He may, for a moment, neglect to breathe, but when the pipe is forgotten, he must be dying indeed. There were no such sad cases here. Wreaths of smoke were rising from every possible quarter. The more fantastic the smoke wreath, the more placid and solemn the smoker. Look at these boys and girls on stilts. That is a good idea. They can see over the heads of the tallest. It is strange to see these little bodies high in the air, carried about on mysterious legs. They have such a resolute look on their round faces. What wonder that nervous old gentleman with tender feet, Winston, trembled while the long-legged little monsters strode past him. You will read in certain books that the Dutch are a quiet people. So they are generally. But listen. Did ever you hear such a din? All made up of human voices? No. The horses are helping somewhat, and the fiddles are squeaking pitifully. How it must pain fiddles to be tuned. But the mass of sound comes from the great vox humana that belongs to a crowd. That queer little dwarf going about with a heavy basket, winding in and out among the people, helps not a little. You can hear his shrill cry above the other sounds. "Piping and tobacco! Piping and tobacco!" Another, his big brother, though evidently some years younger, is selling doughnuts and bonbons. He's calling on all pretty children far and near to come quickly, or the cakes will be gone. You know quite a number among the spectators. High up in the yonder pavilion, erected on the border of the ice, are some persons whom you have seen lately. In the center is Madame Van Gleck. It is her birthday, you remember, and she has the post of honor. There is Mynheer Van Gleck, whose meerschaum has not really grown fast to his lips. It only appears so. There are grandfather and grandmother, whom you met at St. Nicholas' fete. All the children are with them. It is so mild that they brought even the baby. The poor little creature is swaddled very much like the manner of an Egyptian mummy. But it can crow with delight, and when the band is playing, open and shut its animated mittens in perfect time to the music. Grandfather, with his pipe and spectacles and fur cap, makes quite a picture as he holds the baby upon his knee. Perched high up on their canopied platforms, the party can see all that is going on. No wonder the ladies look complacently at the glassy ice. With a stove for a footstool, one might sit cozily beside the North Pole. There is a gentleman with them who somewhat resembles St. Nicholas as he appeared to the young Van Glecks on the 5th of December. But the saint had a flowing white beard, and this face is as smooth as a pippin. His saintship was larger round the body, too, and, between ourselves, he had a pair of thimbles in his mouth, which this gentleman certainly has not. It cannot be St. Nicholas, after all. Nearby, in the next pavilion, sit the Van Holps, with their son and daughter, the Van Gens, from The Hague. Peter's sister is not one to forget her promises. She has brought bouquets of exquisite hothouse flowers for the winners. These pavilions, and there are others besides, have all been erected since daylight. That semicircular one, containing Mynheer Korb's family, is very pretty, and proves that the Hollanders are quite skilled at tent-making. But I like the Van Glecks best, the center one, striped red and white and hung with evergreens. The one with the blue flags containing the musicians, those pagoda-like affairs, decked with seashells and streamers of every possible hue, are the judges' stands. And those columns and flagstaffs upon the ice mark the limit of the race course. The two white columns, twined with green, connected at the top by that long floating strip of drapery, form the starting point. Those flagstaffs, half a mile off, stand at each end of the boundary line. cut sufficiently deep to be distinct to the skaters, though not enough so as to trip them when they turn to come back to the starting point. The air is so clear it seems scarcely possible that the columns and flagstaffs are so far apart. Of course, the judges' stands are but little nearer together. Half a mile on the ice, when the atmosphere is like this, is but a short distance after all, especially when fenced with a living chain of spectators. The music has commenced. How melody seems to enjoy itself in the open air. The fiddles have forgotten their agony, and everything is harmonious. Until you look at the blue tent, it seems that the music springs from the sunshine. It is so boundless, so joyous. Only when you see the staid-faced musicians do you realize the truth. Where are the racers? All assembled together near the white columns. It is a beautiful sight. 40 boys and girls in picturesque attire, darting with electric swiftness in and out among each other, or sailing in pairs and triplets, beckoning, chatting, whispering, in the fullness of youthful glee. A few careful ones are soberly tightening their straps. Others, halting on one leg, with flushed, eager faces, suddenly cross a suspected skate over their knee and give it an examining shake, and dart off again. One and all are possessed with a spirit of motion. They cannot stand still. Their skates are a part of them, and every runner seems bewitched. Holland is the place for skaters, after all. Where else can nearly every boy and girl perform feats on the ice that would attract a crowd if seen as Central Park? Look at Ben. I did not see him before. He's really astonishing the natives. No easy thing to do in the Netherlands. Save your strength, Ben. You'll need it soon. Now other boys are trying. Ben is surpassed already. Such jumping, such poising, such spinning, such Indian rubber exploits generally. That boy with the red cap is a lion now. His back is a watch spring. His body is a cork. No, it is iron. Or it would snap at that. He's a bird, a top, a rabbit, a corkscrew, a sprite, a flesh ball, all in an instant. When you think he's erect, he's down. When you think he's down, he's up. He drops his glove on the ice and turns a somersault as he picks it up. Without stopping, he snatches the cap from Jacob Poot's astonished head and claps it back on again, hindside foremost. Lookers on, hurrah and laugh, foolish boy. It is Arctic under your feet, but more than temperature overhead. Big drops already are rolling down your forehead. Super skater as you are, you may lose the race. A French traveler standing with a notebook in his hand sees our English friend Ben buy a doughnut of the dwarf's brother and eat it. Thereupon he writes in his notebook that the Dutch take enormous mouthfuls and universally are fond of potatoes boiled in molasses. There are some familiar faces near the white columns. Lambert, Ludwig, Peter, and Karl are all there, cool and in good skating order. Hans is not far off. Evidently he is going to join in the race, for his skates are on the very pair that he sold for 7 guilders. He had soon suspected that his fairy godmother was the mysterious friend who bought them. This settled, he had boldly charged her with the deed, and she, knowing well that all her little savings had been spent in the purchase, had not had the face to deny it. To the fairy godmother, too, he had been rendered amply able to buy them back again. Therefore Hans is to be in the race. Karl is more indignant than ever about it. But as 3 other peasant boys have entered, Hans is not alone. 20 boys and 20 girls. The latter by this time are standing in front, braced for the start, for they are to have the run first. Hilda, Brigitte, and Katrinka are among them. 2 or 3 bend hastily to give a last pull at their skate straps. It is pretty to see them stamp, to be sure that all is firm. Hilda is speaking pleasantly to a graceful little creature in a red jacket and a new brown petticoat. Why, it's Gretchel. What a difference those pretty shoes make, and the skirt and the new cap. Annie Booman is there, too. Even Jan Zoon Kolp's sister has been admitted. But Jan Zoon himself has been voted out by the directors because he killed the stork and only last summer was caught in the act of robbing a bird's nest, a legal offense in Holland. This Jan Zoon Kolp, you see, was... there, I cannot tell you the story now. The race is about to commence. 20 girls are formed in a line. The music has ceased. A man, whom we shall call the crier, stands between the columns and the first judges stand. He reads the rules in a loud voice. The girls and boys are to race in turn until one girl and one boy have beaten twice. They are to start in a line from the united columns, skate to the flagstaff line, turn, and then come back to the starting point, thus making a mile at each run. A flag is waved from the judges' stand. Madame Van Gleck rises in her pavilion. She leans forward with a white handkerchief in her hand. When she drops it, a bugler is to give the signal for them to start. The handkerchief is fluttering to the ground. Hark! They're off! No, back again. Their line was not true in passing the judges' stand. The signal is repeated. Off again. No mistake this time. Whew! How fast they go! The multitude is quiet for an instant, absorbed in eager, breathless watching. Cheers spring up along the line of spectators. Huzza! 5 girls are ahead. Who comes flying back from the boundary mark? We cannot tell. Something red, that is all. There's a blue spot flitting near it and a dash of yellow nearer still. Spectators at this end of the line strain their eyes and wish they had taken their post nearer the flagstaff. A wave of cheers is coming back again. Now we can see Katrinka is ahead. She passes the Van Holt pavilion. The next is Madame Van Gleck's. That leaning figure gazing from it is a magnet. Hilda shoots past Katrinka. Waving her hand to her mother, she passes. 2 others are close now, whizzing on like arrows. What is that flash of red and gray? Hurrah, it is Gretchel! She too waves her hand, but toward no gay pavilion. The crowd is cheering, but she hears only her father's voice. Well done, little Gretchel! Soon Katrinka, with a quick, merry laugh, shoots past Hilda. The girl in yellow is gaining now. She's passing them all except Gretchel. The judges lean forward without seeming to lift their eyes from their watches. Cheer after cheer fills the air. The very columns seem rocking. Gretchel has passed them. She has won. Gretchel Brinker, 1 mile, shouts the crier. The judges nod. They write something upon a tablet which each one holds in his hand. While the girls are resting, some crowding eagerly around our frightened little Gretchel, some standing aside in high disdain, the boys form in a line. And Herr Van Gleck drops the handkerchief this time. The buglers give a vigorous blast. The boys have started. Halfway already. Did you ever see the like? 300 legs flashing by in an instant, but there are only 20 boys. No matter. There were hundreds of legs, I'm sure. Where are they now? Why, there was so much noise that one got bewildered. What are the people laughing at? Oh, that fat boy in the rear. See him? See him go? He'll be down in an instant. No, he won't. I wonder if he knows he's all alone. The other boys are nearly at the boundary line already. Yes, he knows. He stops. He wipes his hot face. He takes off his cap and looks about him. Better to give up with good grace. He's made 100 friends by that hearty, astonished laugh. Good Jacob Poot. The fine fellow is already among the spectators, gazing as eagerly as the rest. A cloud of feathery ice flies from the heels of the skaters as they bring to and turn at the flagstaffs. Something black is coming now. One of the boys. That's all we know. He has touched the vox humana stop of the crowd. It fairly roars. Now they come nearer. We can see the red cap. There's Ben. There's Peter. There's Hans. Hans is ahead. Young Madame Van Gent almost crushes the flowers in her hand. She'd been quite sure that Peter would be first. Karl Schummel is next, then Ben, and the youth with the red cap. The others are pressing close. A tall figure darts from among them. He passes the red cap, he passes Ben, then Karl. Now it is an even race between him and Hans. Madame Van Gen catches her breath. It is Peter. He is ahead. Hans shoots past him. Hilda's eyes fill with tears. Peter must. Pete? Annie's eyes flash proudly, and Gretchen gazes with clasped hands. 4 strokes more, and her brother will be to the columns. He is there. Yes, but so is young Schummel, just a second before. At the last instant, Karl, gathering his powers, had whizzed between them and passed the goal. Karl Schummel, 1 mile, shouts the crier. Soon, Madame Van Gleck rises again. The falling handkerchief starts the bugle, and the bugle, using its voice as a bowstring, shoots off 20 girls like so many arrows. It is a beautiful sight. But one has not long to look before we can fairly distinguish them. They are far in the distance. This time they are close upon one another. It is hard to say as they come speeding back from the flagstaff which will reach the columns first. There are new faces among the foremost, eager, glowing faces, unnoticed before. Katrinka is there, and Hilda. But Gretchen and Ritchie are in the rear. Gretchen is wavering. But when Ritchie passes her, she starts forward afresh. Now they're nearly beside Katrinka. Hilda is still in advance. She's almost home. She has not faltered since the bugle's note sent her flying. Like an arrow still she is speeding toward the goal. Cheer after cheer rises in the air. Peter is silent, but his eyes shine like stars. Huzzah! Huzzah! The crier's voice is heard again. Hilda Van Gleck, 1 mile. A loud murmur of approval runs through the crowd, catching the music in its course till all seems one sound, with a glad rhythmic throbbing in its depths. When the flag waves, all is still. Once more the bugle blows a terrific blast. It sends off the boys like chaff before the wind, dark chaff, I admit, and in big pieces. It is whisked around at the flagstaff, driven faster yet by the cheers and shouts along the line. We begin to see what is coming. There are 3 boys in advance this time, and all abreast. Hans, Peter, and Lambert. Karl soon breaks the ranks, rushing through with a whiff. Fly, Hans, fly! Peter, don't let Karl beat again. Karl the bitter, Karl the insolent. Van Monen is flagging, but you are strong as ever. Hans and Peter, Peter and Hans, which is foremost? We love them both. We scarcely care which is the fleeter. Hilda, Annie, Gretchen, seated upon the long crimson bench, can remain quiet no longer. They spring to their feet, so different, yet one in eagerness. Hilda instantly reseats herself. None shall know how interested she is. None shall know how anxious, how filled with one hope. Shut your eyes, then, Hilda. Hide your face, rippling with joy. Peter has beaten. Peter Van Holt, 1 mile, cries the crier. The same buzz of excitement as before, while the judges take notes, the same throbbing music through the din, but something is different. A little crowd presses close about some object near the column. Karl has fallen. He is not hurt, though somewhat stunned. If he were less sullen, he would find more sympathy in these warm young hearts. As it is, they forget him as soon as he is fairly on his feet again. The girls are to skate their 3rd mile. How resolute the little maidens look as they stand in a line. Some are solemn, with a sense of responsibility. Some wear a smile half bashful, half provoked. But one air of determination pervades them all. This 3rd mile may decide the race. Still, if neither Gretchen nor Hilda wins, there's a chance among the rest for the silver skates. Each girl feels sure that this time she will accomplish the distance in 1/2 the time. How they stamp to try their runners, how nervously they examine each strap. How erect they stand at last, every eye upon Madame Van Gleck. The bugle thrills through them again. With quivering eagerness they spring forward, bending but in perfect balance. Each flashing stroke seems longer than the last. Now they're skimming off in the distance. Again the eager eyes straining to see. Again the shouts and cheering. Again the thrill of excitement as, after a few moments, 4 or 5 in advance of the rest come speeding back nearer, nearer the white columns. Who is first? Not Ritchie, not Katrinka, Annie, nor Hilda, nor the girl in the yellow, but Gretchel. Gretchel, the fleetest sprite of a girl that ever skated. She was but playing in the earlier race. Now she is in earnest, or rather something within her has determined to win. That lithe little form makes no effort, but it cannot stop, not until the goal is passed. In vain the crier lifts his voice. He cannot be heard. He has no news to tell. It is already ringing through the crowd. Gretchel has won the silver skates. Like a bird, she has flown over the ice. Like a bird, she looks about in her timid, startled way. She longs to dart to the sheltered nook where her father and mother stand, but Hans is beside her. The girls are crowding round. Hilda's kind, joyous voice breathes in her ear. From that hour, none will despise her. Goose girl or not, Gretchel stands acknowledged queen of the skaters. With natural pride, Hans turns to see if Peter van Hulp is witnessing his sister's triumph. Peter is not looking toward them at all. He is kneeling, bending his troubled face low and working hastily with his skate strap. Hans is beside him at once. "Are you in trouble, Mynheer?" "Ah, Hans, that you? Yes, my fun is over. I tried to tighten my strap to make a new hole, and this botheration of a knife has cut it nearly in two." "Mynheer," said Hans, at the same time pulling off a skate, "you must use my strap." "Not I, indeed, Hans Bleeker," cried Peter, looking up. "Though I thank you warmly. Go to your post, my friend. The bugle will sound in a minute." "Mynheer," pleaded Hans in a husky voice, "you've called me your friend. Take this strap quick. There's not an instant to lose. I shall not skate this time. Indeed, I am out of practice. Mynheer, you must take it." And Hans, blind and deaf to any remonstrance, slipped his strap into Peter's skate and implored him to put it on.